Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Simply Trade Roundup. My name's Annik. I'll be your host today, as I am every single week. I start like this every time, guys. It's hilarious. But today, great episode ahead. Please stay on. We have an incredible guest with me here today, which is Cindy DeLeon. She's the founder and managing director of DeLeon Trade. You can really look at her website, look at her LinkedIn. She's sharing the crucial information that you can use on the daily in the trade industry. But mainly our focus today will be on CAPE refunds. I know, guys, please don't sign off now, please. I know people are like, CAPE, no, I don't want to hear about it anymore. No, but please stay on because Cindy is seriously going to blow your mind and have some interesting nuggets for you, as Renee Cucurelli would say, golden nuggets, which I love. So Cindy, truly, I'm so delighted to have you here. You're a great light. You're wearing green. You're so passionate about what you do, and you're truly a big help and a big persona in this industry. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm wearing green, the color of money, Annik. We're talking about CAPE, so
Yeah.
I got my green necklace on, got my green earrings on, I even have green eyeliner on. So
I just don't look at me, guys. I am like totally in the dark, but it's because I'm in the unknown, and she's gonna lighten me up. And I do have a white sweatshirt on her, so maybe I should maybe we're doing like a whole play here with colors. But so for anyone who doesn't know what CAPE is, which that would be concerning, right?
it would be.
Yeah. So CAPE started, I think they launched it, was it this week or last week? It was
This week, Monday on 4/20.
Okay, so it was a week from today when this episode is out. Now, can you run us through what happened on that day? And people rushed to CAPE, to the portal, which is kind of CBP's new system in ACE, right?
Yes, so CAPE is CBP's portal to be able to process refunds of IEPA duties for importers or brokers. And so that is what the system is. It opened on April 20th, 2026, and the system has been working.
Okay, so now there's phases to this, correct? To the CAPE process. Can you go over the phases real quick?
Sure. So we're in phase one right now. Phase one right now is only including certain entry types. It excludes entries that are in the reconciliation program. It excludes entries that are part of a drawback program. It excludes, certain other entry types. And so it's really important to watch out for future phases of CAPE. CBP is working on that. They're working really hard to open up future phases really soon.
So, just for people jumping into it, they already have to know off the bat, is this going to face align with me or is it not? Right? Because we see a lot of errors. A lot of people, I see this on LinkedIn a lot. They go in, they think they know what they're typing in, whatever, and they get an error and they're like, why am I getting this error? Right? So this is not just a simple click and refund process, right? Like you would with anything you buy nowadays online and you get a refund.
Right. It's definitely not. And there are types of entries that are eligible right now in phase one, and then there are validation rules. And so this is what we're telling importers, that if you really aren't savvy about ACE data and about how to modify reports in ACE, work with your trade professional, work with your customs broker, or take training and get educated. We've been doing a lot of education at DeLeon Trade to empower our importers to go in there and request the refunds themselves. So we've been doing a lot of educating on how you can pass all these validation checks and how to add your information in ACE, and getting them empowered to get their green back in their bank accounts.
This works for small, medium, large size companies, right? Because I would think that the extent of refund can vary very much.
God, yeah. Very much. And there is no too small size. So any importer that has paid IEPA duties can submit a refund request through the CAPE portal.
I want to say, guys, if you're listening and you're just a regular consumer, you cannot get this refund, okay? Just because you paid your duties on a product, you cannot. This is just for people paying, in trade that had to pay these duties. Now, What are the biggest mistakes people are making when they're trying to file right
I won't say mistakes. I'll say challenges, challenges that people are facing. And if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, make sure to connect with me on LinkedIn, Cindy DeLeon, because I'm really trying to put some of these lessons learned out there for people. I think a lot of people are getting error messages within ACE system itself, and the system is just struggling to keep up. So don't give up. I posted something earlier on Friday. I'll say Friday if this is going to actually go on air on Monday. Friday early morning, I had a wonderful client reach out to me via email and just say, Cindy, I know you're trying to empower the trade community. So here is my lessons learned. And so her account got deactivated. She doesn't know why. So a lot of people's accounts are getting deactivated and you have to call ACE to get it reactivated. And it was just on hold, on hold, on hold. So she put in her callback number. You know how you have those automated systems that say, hey, if you don't want to sit on hold, put in a callback number. So she put in her callback number and she got a call this morning, Friday at 3 a.m. Eastern. 3 a.m. Eastern. Literally a live person at CBP, as we say here in Texas, bless their hearts, right?
Right.
Called her back and she answered the phone and they worked through her issue and got her reactivated and she was able to file her refund request today. So just know that put in that callback number, be ready to get that message. Make sure you have any spam filters off so that you can get that number dialing through. That would be very important. I think a lot of other people, the problems that they're having is just the system isn't able to calculate duties if there are errors in the underlying entry itself. So we all know that when all these duties came online, there weren't ACE edits to make sure that errors didn't happen in some instances. So, like if you have two IEPA reciprocal tariffs, that shouldn't be able to happen, but it did. And there are a lot of entries that have errors. And so, custom system is rejecting those and saying, unable to calculate duty. It could be different issues. It could be multiple reciprocals. It could be the fact that Customs is looking at an in-transit exclusion. It could be a lot of different things. It could be that the stacking order of your entry was incorrect, the stacking order. So talk to your trade counsel. I'm not giving you legal advice today. I'm just giving you food for thought.
Right.
If you're getting those error messages and those rejects, look at the entry. If you do have errors on that entry, file your PSC potentially and correct those errors, and then you'll be able to include your entry on a CAPE refund request.
Right. So thank you so much for that. Now, if someone thinks they have a refundable entry, right, what should they do first? Should they immediately rush to CAPE or, what do you think do they need to have in order in line? I know there's a lots of documents and you might not want to go through those right now, but some things that you might think are super important for this step.
There's a lot of people out there that are, you know, putting a little bit of fear into the trade community about the amount of review CBP is going to conduct prior to giving a refund. And being a former CBP auditor, I don't want to do that. If you filed an entry, your entry should have been correct at time of entry. And yes, of course, you want to make sure if you know as a company that you have a strong system of internal control and that your entries are filed under that system of internal control, you're conducting regular audits, just forget about CAPE for a second, just as part of your normal process. That's one of the five components of internal control. You should be fine and you should file your CAPE refund. Okay.
Love that.
Request. And so I think other people who might have concerns, Annik, that aren't really doing audits and that don't really have a strong system of internal control, those people definitely, you probably should be looking at your data and conducting checks. There are a lot of companies that offer systematic audits using software tools. Not all of them are created equally. So definitely make sure you understand what you're getting if you're going to use one of those.
Right. Is there a lot of AI involvement or software involvement with these refunds? Is that possible?
So not necessarily on the refund process, although there are two companies that I know of that are doing a really good job in helping companies identify which entries are in the different phases of CAPE But a lot of this information really can be done just using Excel, understanding the data, modifying ACE reports. So I think it's really important to say, it can be done. People, go out there, get your refunds. If you're waiting online for customs to reactivate your account, don't give up. And customs is also updating its edits and being able to, if you got a reject on unable to calculate duty, for example, that's probably one of the most prevalent ones. File it again the next day because CBP's system is also glitching. So they might have worked that out to where it will go in the next day.
Now, that's very helpful. What should importers expect after submission?
I think, you want me to be honest, Annik?
Please be honest
Well,
podcast.
who knows? Let me grab my crystal ball. Hold on. Let me consult my crystal ball. My crystal ball says that they should be watching the news because I'm just a bit concerned that the administration will file an appeal to the current CIT Euro Oceans
I
case.
just got chills.
I know, I know. And let me just say this for all of you who are watching this, listen to me for 1 second. Consider this. Consult your legal counsel. CAPE does not stop your entry's biological clock. I want
Okay.
you to remember that. CAPE does not stop your entry's biological clock, meaning that you need to monitor liquidation and your protest deadlines. Because just because you filed an entry refund request in CAPE does not mean that somehow your entry has more than 180 days after liquidation to file a protest. If you don't have your money in your hot little hand, in your hot little bank account, and that entry is going to reach the protest deadline, if it were my entry, I'd be protesting it. I'm not giving you legal advice, consult your legal counsel, but just know that CAPE does not stop your entries biological clock. That's my new saying. Use it, people. Use it. It's
It
free
does
slogan.
not stop your biological entry clock. You know what? I'm gonna start saying this to my friends if they have something to say, and I'll say that back, and they're gonna look at me.
Happy to help.
What? Please get help. Please, Annik. You
Make
forced me that.
shirts. I might make shirts,
Oh my god!
send them
Make
out to clients. CAPE doesn't stop your entries biological clock. I might make shirts.
like tank tops even.
There
Like
you go.
I want to wear it when I'm, just going out to dinner or something. Imagine what kind of marketing that would be. Oh my! Someone might stop me and say, "Hey, by the way, I'm trying to find my."
File my CAPE. Can you help me?
Wait, that's in that. Okay, wait. I will talk about that offline. Great. Now, now, what is something to remember in this whole system? Like, do you have any additional points you think that need to come across? Questions that you've gotten that you want to address, or anything at all that you want to share? With everything that's going on in Cape. And by the way, it's only been out for about a week. Um, really, what is there?
So many things, Annik. You know me, I'm gonna dive deep. Every time I try to do any kind of training, I'm going in at an advanced level, and so humor me, but be careful, brokers, on clicking the box, attesting to things that, you maybe shouldn't be attesting to. Importers, make sure you know whether your brokers are filing a CAPE declaration on your behalf, because if you don't want them to, and if you're not prepared for them to do so, you need to have really good communication there. There are a lot of people out there now that suddenly miraculously have become experts in customs law, and it's just kind of scary. If you're going to engage a third party service provider to help you, just make sure that they are well experienced, because you are going to have potential rejections. You're going to have potential CF28, CF29s. You're going to have potential audits, potential different things. And so you want to make sure that you're working with law firms and consulting firms that understand CBP's process. There also could be refund offsetting. So if your company owes money to CBP for something else, or
Oh
owes
yeah.
money to the IRS, or owes money to another government agency, those amounts can be offset against your IEPA refund. Know where your money's being routed. So if you haven't brought in notified parties, CF 4811 notified parties to your ACE data, you're sitting there and you're waiting for your refund. You're like, man, I haven't got my refund. Wow, got approved, but I haven't got my refund. Well, maybe your notified party is your broker, and your broker has your money, and you got to go and ask them for it.
Yeah, I heard actually one question. So this got brought to my attention. Let me get this straight, because there was something about the broker or a company. Oh, here we go. Company filing for their refunds, but they haven't even paid their broker. And the broker, advanced basically the IEEPA tariffs ahead of time and the company didn't pay the broker. Is that a thing or is that not a thing? Have you ever heard of it?
It could be a thing. It
But
could be
that
a
would be
thing.
crazy. I'm like, but with that, this is business. Shouldn't you belong in jail?
Well, I won't go that far to say, but so many brokers pay on their importers' behalf. I think less so now in the world of periodic monthly statement. It's called PMS. CVP made this acronym PMS. It's not, I can't even make this up, but it's periodic monthly statement. Still a monthly in there, but I'm just saying.
That just sounds triggering. I just got really triggered. Okay, go on.
But anyway, but brokers do this all the time. They pay on behalf of their importer and then they collect the duty and fees from their importer along with their bill
Yeah.
for services. So there definitely could be instances. I don't know what's going to happen in those instances because wow, that would be really crappy if the importer got the refund and still didn't make the broker whole for the amounts that they had paid. I really can't speak to that, but it definitely could happen.
Okay. Yeah, that is just one instance I heard, which I was like, I didn't even know that could be a thing. But okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, where do you see it going? Do you see, do you think it needs to be revamped or there needs to be made some changes to how it's used or how you can make, get through your refund process? Or do you think it's pretty smooth running system right now?
I honestly commend CBP. I really do, and it's not just because 'cause I'm former CBP. I can only imagine how hard they're working behind the scenes, and I'm just really happy and proud of them for doing what they've done. I think that they are already making edits to it and making it better and working out bugs and working out their programming language to be able to process as many refunds as possible. I think the problem really lies with ACE. The ACE system just really needs to be improved, and it really needs to have more capacity because they need more people answering phones. They need more people, figuring out why their ACE accounts get deactivated for no reason. Like those are the types of programming things. They're more on the ACE side, Annick, less on the CAPE side. And so I just feel that CBP needs to put more resources in ACE, but I really commend them for all that they're doing. And look, they're human people too. One of them woke up at 3 o'clock Eastern to call back an importer, our client. So, got to give them props where props are due.
And I got to give you props because you came on and shared all this information, including your special statement, which that's incredible. I love it. That you please trademark immediately. But thank you so much, Cindy. I appreciate your time. I know you're so busy. I mean, you just told me that you're traveling for a client next week, and it's just incredible to see how much help is out there. You being a major source of that. So thank you so much for coming on the Simply Trade podcast and kind of sharing your perspective on what you've experienced. And to our listeners, I hope you kind of resonated with what Cindy had to say. And if you have questions, I know she is here. She is also on LinkedIn. You can find her there, and she shares a great chunk of advice. So thank you so much, Cindy.
My
To
pleasure.
everyone listening, thank you so much for listening to the Simply Trade podcast, of course. And I will be back next Monday. But don't forget, we have shows Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And you are covered with all the information. All right. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.